Coming up on this edition of ATV News.
It just felt like I got slapped in the face, you know, like we don't really care that much.
I care. I care.
Our continuing story about a student suing USU. We'll show you what the school says and why the student says she doesn't believe them.
It's sad to see it go.
Downtown Logan is getting a makeover. We'll show you the building that came down and what's replacing it.
We'll tell you how the Scotsman was played in space.
Men's basketball has been on a 4-game losing streak. I'll let you know if they turn their luck around in sports.
I can't see my shadow, but I'll let you know if Punxsutawney Phil saw his in weather.
All that and more, this is ATV News.
Excavators tore down the last wall of the Copper Mill restaurant and the Emporium on Monday. We'll have more updates on that later. Welcome to ATV News. I'm Kainoa Johnson.
And I'm Leah Krishoni. A USU student is suing the university after claiming they didn't help her after she was assaulted by a USU football player. Last week, we introduced you to the student. Now Sarah Murphy shows you more from the student's case, but also the school side of things.
It's like a punch to the gut. It's very lonely.
USU student Katrie Flint says a USU football player raped her. She says she went to USU's Title IX office and Office of Equity for help.
I was advised at one point by someone in the Title IX office to leave the school because I might have an accidental run-in with this person who raped me. And that was like my safety procedure, was to avoid the TSC, avoid the library, avoid Old Main, avoid like all these big buildings where like, if I'm gonna be a successful student, like I'm gonna be in those buildings.
Flint says she was assaulted on November 26, 2019. She says for 7 months, she went through an investigation with USU. She says in July 2020, the decision panel told her the student athlete did violate school policy. She says they told her the next step was to hear back from the university president. She said after 5 months, she heard nothing. So she reached out to the president. Flint says Cockett responded, the case would not move forward.
How did that feel, I guess? You go through your time and you're told these are all your resources, XYZ, do this and you'll get help. How did that feel doing what they told you and not seeing the results?
I just felt so dehumanized. I felt like nothing that I had gone through was important to anyone. I felt like they had, at that point, like even then, I felt like they had taken just as much from me as the rapist did. So I just was boiling, you know, I was so mad.
School officials say they can't discuss specifics of the case.
Under our processes, under our procedures, privacy of these investigations is a requirement.
I know for folks who, will look at the process and be like the university is just trying to make excuses for itself or, like cover its own butt. I think it's important to acknowledge that, yes, there are some elements of the formal investigation process that Utah State has absolutely no control over, that we are required to abide by in order to be compliant with the federal Title IX law.
Cockett says no matter the outcome, she wants to do what's best for students.
That's why I'm a president of university, is because I care about people. And I just think something got lost, something got missed, that process and that communication conveyed to that individual that we didn't care. It's not true.
But Flint says she doesn't see it.
I remember being in the Title IX office more than I was in class, more than I was hanging out with my friends. So it was like I really did overextend myself. And I have nothing to show for this.
Sarah Murphy, ATV News.
In Flint's case, it says she's looking for compensation for emotional distress, medical and therapy expenses, and tuition costs. We will continue to have more updates as the story goes forward.
Downtown Logan is under renovation. The Emporium, which was built in 1898, came crumbling down to make room for a new plaza. Here's another angle of the building falling on Monday. The construction crews started in the back and worked their way forward. The crew says they were excited to use a brand new crane that reaches more than 100 feet. They say it helps them move faster. The demolition site was fenced off from the public and the construction crew went to work. But the project manager says the public was included during the whole process.
This one was found not historically significant, but we did spare the ones that were.
Dickinson says the Emporium looks like nothing when it did when it was originally built. The project manager says they hope to finish construction before next Thanksgiving so people can enjoy the new ice rink.
USU's vaccine requirement started this semester, and officials say they are working to get all students vaccinated. The first vaccine clinic to encourage students to get vaccinated was in April last year. USU says they will continue to hold clinics for students. USU officials say they hope everyone who can will get vaccinated because vaccines are helping COVID cases from rising at USU.
We just really encourage all students and faculty and staff to get vaccinated. It's the best way to protect themselves and keep themselves healthy.
In our health district, 60.8% of people have at least one dose of the vaccine, 53.4% are fully vaccinated, and 20.4% are boosted. Now let's take a look at COVID cases across the state. This map shows the 14-day case rate per 100,000 people in Utah. The rate in Logan is very high at almost 4,000 cases. For the rest of Cache and Rich counties, the COVID case rate is still very high with over 2,500 cases. The highest case rate per 100,000 people in Utah is in Orem. The rate there is just over 4,500 cases. The lowest case rate in Utah is in Washington County with almost 1,600 cases, but that rate is still very high.
And in other COVID news, students in Cache Valley schedules are starting to look a little different due to the rise of COVID cases in the valley. Elementary school playgrounds might start to look a little emptier now that the number of kids allowed in schools is decreasing.
You have like the AM kids who come in, and the AM schedule hasn't really changed that much. But it's the PM schedule that's changed the most, because now you have kids who were riding the bus on certain days because of certain situations or whatever, and now we have to figure out new bus schedules for them because the time has changed, and so now they can't go to this place at this time, and now they can't do this, so the bus schedule is different.
Mountain Star Healthcare says timing of picking up students has changed because of the rise of COVID, flu, and respiratory syncytial virus cases.
This far into the pandemic, you probably have at least a few masks lying around your house. MFH shows us how the masks we know today were used in the past and what you might consider wearing for the future.
Just by hooking that over their ears and pulling it.
Lori Salustead never thought she would be making masks for all ages and all sizes.
Who foresees a pandemic coming, or sitting in church with masks on your face or any of that?
But while these masks might be new, masks themselves aren't.
Masks go back to around the turn of the century.
Photographs show people wearing masks during the Spanish influenza in 1918. But similar to today, not everyone liked them.
It was kind of a mix because some people thought masks were really important, and then some people didn't. Even doctors were like, masks aren't really all that great for this. So there was a mixture of opinion, kind of like today.
Now, Davis says cloth masks like this one would be similar to what they had in the Spanish influenza, minus the Aggie logo, of course. But now we have cloth masks like this one, but we also have surgical masks, and we also have N95s or KN95s like this one. And with all of these different options, what do you choose?
Those who are the immunocompromised are those that should consider wearing a higher level mask, such as the N95.
According to the CDC, N95 masks filter about 95% of particles you breathe in. Cloth and surgical masks have a wide range of filtration, all depending on factors like the fit of the mask or the thread count, but they still filter much less than the N95. But Bear River Health Department says any mask is better than no mask.
You wear the most protective mask you can that fits well and that you will wear consistently.
And the sewing machine will stay on at the Logan Mask as long as people still want them.
We have some very loyal customers that still want them, and so I keep making them.
Emma Fates, ATV News.
The Logan Mask is based right here in Cache Valley, and if you want more information on the masks they have, you can follow the link on our Facebook page. And coming up,
Enough is enough.
we'll tell you how you could save a life.
It was an undescribable feeling.
We'll show you why these Aggies were excited about where their homework went.
Coming up in weather, Annika Johns will have the 7-day forecast. The current temperature is 21 degrees.
The Surplus Store. Someone's trash is about to be my treasure. We have cords and cables here. We have bags full of towels and sheets. Do you want this fold-up mattress? Because we don't. We got keyboards, paint cans, whatever this is, typewriters, computer monitors. It's destiny on the line, and we want you at Surplus. Products are not guaranteed to work. All sales are final. This commercial is not endorsed by Utah State.
Coming to college with high meal expectations? Don't be fooled.
No. Oh,
Are your meal expectations not meeting reality? Let your meal expectations become your reality at USU Dining Services.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
With my shadow I have cast, then a long, lustrous 6 more weeks of winter.
And there you have it. Punxsutawney Phil's predictions came in early this morning and he saw his shadow, meaning we have 6 more weeks of winter. This morning, Cache Valley saw that prediction come to life as a light snowstorm began to fall. If you were walking around campus, you may have been slipping on that new snow. I know I was. Welcome to ATV Weather. I'm Annika Johns. Now let's take a look at our national forecast. As you can see, his predictions are coming a little bit true. There's a large storm forming in the southern and eastern parts of the United States. However, if we take a look at the west coast, not as much is happening. Up here in Washington, there is a couple storms beginning to form along with down here in Arizona. But if we take a look at Utah, we can see if any storms are affecting us a little closer to home. Down here near St. George, a couple storms are forming, and there are still a couple remnants from this morning's storms up in northern Utah. Now let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. Despite the storm this morning, the sun is shining and we have a high temperature of 21 degrees. However, once that sun goes down, we are going to get to a low whopping 3 degrees. So make sure you have a nice warm jacket on or a blanket if you're heading up outside. And now you're all caught up on weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Annika. Bear River held its annual Homeless Point in Time count to gather data on people living on the street in Cache Valley. JC Caldwell shows us what you can do to help.
42 trained volunteers met here at 3:30 in the morning, shortly after they left their assigned areas to survey those without a safe place to sleep.
Excuse me, guys, can I just...
This annual event, known as the Pit Count, happens every January and is required by federal law for every county nationwide. Their survey questions range from where they've slept to how long they've been homeless and why. Along with interview questions, volunteers were able to hand out food, pamphlets, and blankets as needed.
I am currently standing in front of the Bragg office where I just got done volunteering in the Point in Time count myself. And in my hands, I am holding one of the emergency resource pamphlets that volunteers were able to distribute to individuals in need. And although me, along with many other volunteers early this morning, were not able to conduct any survey interviews or hand out any pamphlets, directors say that it still makes a difference.
Other community members, like these attendants at gas stations, they see us out there, they see us trying to find folks, and maybe then a light bulb goes off to them or to someone else who sees us out, and they're like, oh wow, this this must really be important because these folks are out at 3 a.m.
The count also raises awareness by getting the community educated and engaged.
I also feel like just talking to like friends and family and just letting everybody know what's going on just really helps out a lot.
Both Anderson and Bernard say numbers from the count should decrease this year because they've seen more sheltered people.
When we can get a more accurate count of homelessness in our community, we can, we're more likely to have funding that can come into our community to help support those who are experiencing homelessness.
And although there is no emergency shelter in Cache Valley, directors and council members are still working to make sure all needs are met.
So you would say that it is an issue in Cache Valley?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, don't you think that if someone doesn't have a safe place to live or sleep, it's, that's one of the basic things we need in life is food, shelter, and companionship. And when you're missing that shelter piece, that's a really, it's a horrible thing.
JC Caldwell, ATV News.
To get involved, you can make food or hygiene donations to the Cache Food Pantry or sign up to volunteer for the pit count next year.
The CDC says suicide is the second leading cause of death for those under 35. They also say it's preventable. On Thursday, some people in Cache Valley came together to learn how.
That's why we're here.
People spoke up at a mental health training on Thursday. This conference talked about suicide awareness and the resources to turn to. However, they say mental health isn't always an open topic.
I was told, keep it quiet. You don't want people to think you're crazy.
Romano is representing the USU Sorsen Center's resources. She says having experienced mental illness herself makes it easier to connect to her clients. Romano says people just want to be there and help. She says there are many resources you can find for yourself and for others.
A satellite made entirely by Aggies launched into space. Annika Johns shows us how a group of undergrads made USU history in a whole new atmosphere.
Houston, we do not have a problem. The USU gas team celebrated early Wednesday morning when their gas-packed satellite deployed and sent down its first signal from space.
Once it booted up after 40 minutes, it deployed its antenna and started playing The Scotsman to the world. They played the audio beacon and they got it down in Japan. And we listened to it and we could hear The Scotsman and we went crazy. It was an undescribable feeling.
After 10 years of planning and development, GasPacks launched to test inflatable structures in space.
So right now, it is passively stabilizing using this meter-long boom that was deployed.
The gas team explained to me that the satellite is like you sitting in a chair as it spins around, with one of your legs extended out. As you spin around, you slow down. That's the kind of data they're gathering from the satellite. The gas team says that only about 50% of missions of this scale are ever heard from again.
There were so many things that could have gone wrong, or things that would have prevented it from even happening.
I mean, to know that something I built and something that so many Aggies have spent years working on here at USU, that's up in space now. I mean, I'm so proud of what we have accomplished, and everyone that's worked on the team on this project the past 10 years, I know they're proud as well.
Annika Johns, ATV News.
The gas team says that their satellite should stay in orbit for about a year.
That's really incredible. It's awesome to see that students get an opportunity while they're still in class to work on real-world projects like this.
I know. I love that USU always has hands-on programs that people can build satellites and put it in space before they even graduate.
I'm so jealous. I wish I could build a satellite. That'd be awesome.
And coming up.
I don't know how people plan it without something like this.
We'll show you how one's family event idea could benefit you.
Quickly, Asher trying to throw the alley-oop to Bairstow!
Aggie men's basketball slammed home dunks all week. Jake Ellis will show you that if they were enough to pick up some conference wins.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Alley-oop to Bairstow once again.
Bairstow flies over Air Force, but was it enough for an Aggie win? Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Jake Ellis. Let's jump into men's basketball. Men's basketball was on a 4-game losing streak entering their contest with San Diego State on Wednesday, but the Aggies looked like a new team against the Aztecs. Stephen Ashworth banged in this wide-open corner three to get things going. Center Trevin Dorius slammed home dunk after dunk, and you guessed it, after dunk. The Aggies finally found their three-point shot as they hit 10 threes for the first time in conference play. Sean Bairstow slammed one home, and the Aggies started celebrating a big win over the Aztecs. Utah State recorded their second palindrome victory, 57-75. On Saturday, the Aggies visited Reno to take on Nevada. The Aggies got off to an early lead courtesy of Stephen Ashworth and Brandon Horvath. The Aggies took a lead halfway throughout the first half and never looked back, holding on to the lead for the rest of the game. Utah State had a balanced attack with 6 players scoring in double figures, including Ashworth. Coach Odom went home smiling after taking care of the Wolfpack 78-49. Last night, Utah State hosted Air Force in Spectrum Magic Night. The Aggies were looking to extend their win streak to 3 against the defensive-minded Falcons. There is Brandon Horvath, and there's Stephen Ashworth nailing the 3. There's Horvath again. He led the Aggies in scoring with 17 points. Here's Ashworth up to Bairstow for the alley-oop. A monster slam, and if you want to see another one, there you go. Bairstow again, that one from Jones. And then it's kicked out, another 3. And, you know, Air Force had a couple dunks, but it didn't matter as the Aggies were on fire from downtown. Bairstow slammed it home, and that'll do it as the Falcons fell 46-73. The Aggies are back in action tomorrow night at home at 7. The number 23 ranked Aggies took on rival BYU on Friday. The Aggies scored a season-high 196.45, and 5 Aggies set career highs, but the Cougars beat the Aggies by .325. Women's basketball took a road trip this week. Their first stop was in San Jose State, where the Aggies were hungry for their second conference win. Emmy Harris started things off with that 3 there, but the Spartans were also looking for their first conference win, and they were on fire from downtown. Here's Randawa driving in, kicking out, and a 3 for the Aggies as they're starting to come back here late in the first quarter. And then here's another 3, this one even further out, almost NBA range, an impressive shot there. Another 3 here for the Aggies as they take their first lead in that quarter. And at halftime, Quezada hit a jumper to take the lead by 9 points. But the Spartans came back, and we were tied early in the fourth. The Aggies went on a little bit of a run, taking a bit of a lead off of 3s like that from Emmy Harris. But the Spartans came back, and they took a lead late in the fourth quarter. But this banked 3 cut the lead, their lead down to 1 point. With the last shot, Randawa driving in. She'll get fouled, and she'll have to head to the line to try and win the game. She hit the first one, but here's the second one off the back iron. The rebound by Lacey Hawthorne, and the desperation is good. The Aggies pick up their second conference win in San Jose after they review it just to make sure it got off in time, and it was. Aggies win 63-61. Utah State track had 2 meets over 2 days this weekend. In Seattle, the Aggies picked up 2 first-place finishes with Connor Weaver winning the men's 5,000 and several Aggies combining for a men's distance medley relay title. And Aggie hockey had a 3-game homestand this weekend. It was Military Appreciation Night at the Eccles Ice Center as Utah State finished a 3-game homestand against Metro State on Saturday. The Aggies opened up the scoring on this goal from Sean Johnston, but the Roadrunners would continue to control the puck for most of the first and second period. But Titan Anderson was there to block and save shots like that pad save. As things were getting close in the corner there, the Roadrunners were still trailing by 1, and the Aggies were starting to get even more aggressive. But there's the equalizer. It was 1-1 in the second period, but that lead didn't stay, or that tie didn't stay for long as the Aggies started taking over. There's another goal. as it just barely gets tapped in there on the left side. And here's another one-timer. And the Aggies win it by 3, 5-2. Men's tennis had 2 matches in Seattle over the weekend. In the first one, the Aggies were swept by Washington 7-0, but Utah State bounced back the next day, defeating Idaho 6-1. The 24th Winter Olympic Games opened early this morning with mixed doubles curling. The Salt Lake Tribune says over 1/3 of Team USA has ties to Utah. The opening ceremony will be tomorrow, and the games will run through the 20th. You're all caught up on sports. Back to you at the desk, Leah.
Thanks, Jake. You can say I do without saying I don't to the stress of wedding planning with the help of the Logan Bridal Fair. JC Caldwell shows you how.
Hi, welcome to Bridal Fair. Organizers welcome guests to the 38th annual Logan Bridal Fair that is a family-run event started to make the planning process easier for brides. With around 80 vendors each year, brides can explore venues, dress boutiques, photographers, cakes, rings, and other wedding necessities all in one place.
My parents years ago, when they got married, they had to go around to all the different wedding businesses to plan their wedding, and it was a hard time and a hassle, very time consuming. And so they decided to start a fair where brides can come and plan their wedding in one spot in one day.
Although organizers of the fair cater to brides with prize giveaways and complimentary magazines, vendors also see the benefits.
It reminds people of where we're located and where we are, and it reminds them, like everybody knows we do cupcakes and cookies because we have those every single day, but it reminds them that we also do wedding cakes as well.
Between the interactive dance floors, the music, the free samples, and the discounts, it's all here at the Bridal Fair. Whether you're a bride, groom, friend, or a part of the bridal party, there's something here for everyone.
If not, we can also do it on YouTube.
I don't know how people plan it without something like this. Because they'll come in and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I never thought of this. I never thought of doing, like, who thought of having a bounce house?
And though it is much less common for the groom to attend, there are vendors that appeal to him and the bridal party. Brides say the best part of the fair are the little details. And from one bride to the next, the advice was the same.
You should probably come at least like 6 months before you're getting married, just so you can get like everything reserved. Make sure you give yourself time to plan. That's probably the biggest thing.
JC Caldwell, ATV News.
The Bridal Fair is at Riverwoods Conference Center every January to accommodate brides who have weddings during peak season in the summer.
If you've ever had issues with your laptop, your tech help is now in a new spot on campus. I checked out the new location and learned why IT workers say the move could benefit you. Workers are still pounding away to put the finishing touches on outside and in at the new IT service desk.
We were supposed to open January 4th, but construction schedules and supply chains affected that, so we got delayed a little bit. So we moved that off to February 1st. We wanted a definitive date of when students can quit coming to the JQL, Janet Quinney Lawson building, out to here.
The new building is on 1200 East, just north of the Creamery. The IT service desk here at USU is equipped to handle a whole lot more than just helping you fix your Canvas page. With this new building and over 100 employees, they'll work faster and better than ever before to keep you connected. Bortle says combining all of IT in one building will free up space in the 4 other buildings they were in on campus. IT will be able to work better together and enjoy that new building smell.
For us students, it's an upgrade. I mean, like the windows and stuff, brings in some natural light. It's really nice. The other office was like a cave kind of. The only downside is that it's kind of out a ways from middle of campus. It's like we were used to being really close to the library and stuff, which was nice to come to the office in between classes and stuff. So other than that, I mean, it's a sweet building.
The help desk officially opened yesterday. You can stop by 8 to 5 or call 797-HELP.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
You can find this edition and previous editions on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with some more shots of the Emporium demolition.
Have a great week, Cache Valley.